Well, this video is going to give you an example of just how infiltrated the system is and just how sinister these creatures really are and what their basic motivation is. And that is to destroy anything good and anything of life. And now we can see that they are openly proclaiming that they are the Jesuit old boys back in town as our new leaders. And this was published on the 14th of September 2013 by The Australian. Basically letting us know that we are now under full Jesuit control and they want us to know this. So this is what I find also very interesting, is that it seems that even though the mask is falling, they don't seem to really care. It's as though they know that it is inevitable, so they are just going to basically react to the situations as they unfold with the most amount of information that they can basically have for themselves. And this is why we have seen that they raped, pillaged, plundered, murdered, looted their way across the world, stealing knowledge from all of these cultures and then locking them up in the Vatican and giving us a version that they call the Bible, and that it seems many are enslaved to because they use their magic. And it seems that they tell their flock one thing, but the other hand does another thing. And due to this plundering, they have managed to remove the memory of our divinity, the memory of who we are, the memory that mankind are divine, and that there are 96 divine amongst us, 8 messiahs and 88 divine ones. And this is what they want hidden. And this is what all of the symbolism represents. And the story that we now know, due to the information we've been able to piece together, because they couldn't destroy it completely. And when we had the codes and we knew what we were looking for, well, it presents itself everywhere because it's based on sacred geometry. It's based on nature. It's based on God's language. And when mankind begins to awaken again, we remember how to understand the language of God, the language of our divinity. And this is why they have tried to keep us asleep for as long as they can. And they have managed to do this to a lot of people, unfortunately. And this is because they are able to weave their magic over the collective to the point where the collective adores the beast. Everything they tell us is truth is the opposite of truth. They give us lies. They give us lies and tell us that that is truth. And just because they seem to wear this cloth, we seem to listen to this as though it were our truth too, when in truth we were chosen by the Creator to experience creation through our manifestation, through our soul's manifestation. We are here only for our Creator and our soul and the good of the collective, which is measured in the heart, which is measured in light, which is what these demons wish to take from you. The Antichrist. They are the Antichrist. I often wonder why the people who follow these institutions thought it would be as easy as just turning up to church and having somebody forgive you for your sins. And this was the false path. You are responsible only for your own heart, and what is written in your heart cannot be removed. That is what they didn't want to tell you. And they want you to look outside of yourself for saviors. They give you one Messiah that all of the races must fight over, and then this creates a feeling of lack in others because they can never aspire to be that they are not. And so we have this continual conflict. And this is because they want to create weakness within the collective. The truth is that every race has messiahs. This is what the information shows. When I say I have truth and people feel very confronted by that, I don't mean that I have all truth. I don't think, as I've said before, we are really in a position of anyone having all truth. But I have found and pieced together what they were hiding from us, what they tried to destroy, and that is that we are souls, we are ethereal, and we are only answerable to our heart. And so therefore we must exist in harmony with our environment and for the good of creation and the good of our own heart. I mean, really, that is what it all comes down to. And the reason we were given these guidelines of the 7 deadly sins and all of these so-called instructions is merely because we knew we were going to descend in consciousness, and we did not want to waver, our moral compass to waver. And so we had these reminders there, but the church then took them and made them doctrine, as though if you did not follow this directly, you were answerable to the church on God's behalf. You are only answerable to God. So your journey right now is only one destination, to your Creator. That is what the information shows. That is what they know. And it's all to do with the return of the summer of mankind, the return of the galactic, how should I say it, summer, because we have this larger cycle that we exist within. And so when this returns, we also experience changes on the other level of how we are created. And this is what they have sought to hide from us, keep us in lack, keep us only in the physical, and we either go to heaven or hell, and that will be the final destination, when in fact we are reincarnated continuously as souls onto the physical plane and manifested materially to experience creation. And this is a cycle, just like when the seeds of the wheat stalk drops to the ground, even though it seems in death, it's actually springing up new life. So it's always this never-ending cycle of life. There is no death. Death is life. People often don't understand when I post that quote what I mean. It means that when you experience physical death, you are just transitioning through into life again, because you are moving back into the ethereal to be manifest back into the physical. It's just a consistent cycle for anyone that's at the level of consciousness to understand the information. And not all are. I understand that. That's where the fear comes from, that's where the hate comes from, and that's what I deal with. But really, I have to expose the darkness to reveal the light to the people as well. And so only in understanding what we're dealing with here do we understand the truth. And we really need to, to pay attention to the fact that these people have positioned themselves the way they are, because they have done this for an agenda, because they know about this information, about this return of the light, this return of divinity. This is why they've always wanted us only looking to one Messiah, And they've given us this image of this Messiah, that he is this lamb carrying, gentle, peaceful person. And in fact, that is just the opposite. The Messiah is one of 8, and when they return to the garden in full illumination, the knowledge actually shows that they are basically coming back in the name of their Father to restore balance amongst mankind. And in doing so and illuminating, they're illuminating the collective. They're illuminating the whole of mankind. And so this is what the information is showing, and this is what they fear. And so they've put this agenda out of this alien. It's outside of ourselves. Whatever comes that we don't know or we're not used to must be feared. It is unusual. It is to be feared. This is the mindset they've wanted to infect the collective with. And so they've given the collective one Messiah, obviously opening the way for when multiple Messiahs illuminate. And again, what the knowledge is showing me is that when the Messiahs illuminate, they experience some kind of physical process in this that may seem to be quite unusual. But this seems to be what happens, and I can understand on a level that we are ethereal and electric, and so when we see that the planets can have auroras and can electrify, then there's no reason to think we can't when we look at the principle of correspondence. And this also brings me to the point of where I think they are trying to weaken Mother Earth, weaken Gaia because of our connection to Gaia, because we receive the energy through Gaia and receive, the charge through Gaia, and some know it as Kundalini. This is this earth to our ethereal connection that we have that runs through our body. Well, I am wondering whether they are thinking that by weakening her, they will weaken this connection, because to me it seems like every day I am seeing some new disaster, and it's almost as though they are attacking her. And I even now believe that in 2010 that BP Mexico well was probably done on purpose. There seems to be some reason that they want to weaken her, and that's the only way I can think, because I've been wanting to understand why they would want to damage her, and this makes sense. If we do receive our energy from her, they may think that weakening her is weakening us, because this is what they're doing with the chemtrailing, trying to stop the ether and stop the light from coming in, and the cosmic rays, they're trying to reflect them back, which is why they use a lot of aluminium. I'm not saying they don't put other poison in there. Believe me, they want to kill us as well. They want to kill us slowly. They laugh at us why they kill us. They do it in a way that is so sadistic and horrid. It is just mind-blowing that anybody could be so evil when you start actually seeing just what these people are responsible for. But this is what we're coming into, a time of where all this is being revealed. This is the time of the revealing for people that want to see. But there's going to be a lot of fear spread around by these people. And as I said, it's all about looking outside. They want you looking at aliens. Look at the History Channel. Look at Ancient Aliens. They want the Dugon tribe. Spirit science has now gone from being really interesting about the geometry and sacred geometry, which they would have understood that mankind, when they start awakening, would start looking at all this kind of information. And so they create these avenues where they start these interesting groups as something, and then as you become invested into the information, they suddenly change the information into something else. And now this is what I'm seeing spirit science doing with this Dugon, and there is no real connection to anything alien with the Dugon. They're just misrepresenting and misinterpreting the symbols, which I can actually interpret and actually show you would connect to all of the other information I'm finding. So anyway, I was looking at some more information about these Jesuits, because I wanted to show you just how they infiltrate, and I wanted to show you other areas of where they infiltrate. And so I thought I'd do a Google image search, and I found this picture. It was just one of the pictures, but it was the one with writing on it, so I looked at the writing. It's interesting, I saw this one that had Lord Ashtar. Galactic Federation of Light, this is all connected. And so I saw this, demons don't change, and I actually counted the upside down pentagrams, and there were 6. And the upside down pentagrams, for anyone that wants to know and not be fearful of them, is simply man in the physical. When they're up the other way, it's man in the ethereal. It's just another representation of us on foundation. You'll quite often see it in Freemasonry symbolism, where they have the 5-pointed star on the ground at the root chakra. This is because it's showing that there is a representation of man onto foundation through God, through creation, through the Creator, because 5 is also God. And then you have the 4 elements, the 4 messiahs counted as a whole, God is the thumb, as my previous videos have shown. That is how the symbolism shows as well, that we see the number 5. So pentagram is the number 5. It's nothing to be feared. When it's inverted like this, it just means that it is in the physical. And this is exactly what the Devil card shows us, which is the 15 card. So you can see that it's got the 5 in it plus the 1. So it's the 1 representing the individual and the 5 meaning in the manifest in the physical, which together is a 6. And if you get trapped down in the physical at the expense of your ethereal, then you are in bondage. And this is where we don't want to be, which is why the warning's left there, because we want to understand who we are. Because when we only understand the physical aspect of ourselves, we then fall into traps that can be laid for us by these sorts of people. And so I had a little bit more of a look at this site, because it was very interesting that I saw that symbolism straight away, and very interesting things. First of all, I've discovered that the text has nothing to do with the pictures. The pictures tell a completely different story. And so I would be paying attention to the symbolism of the pictures and what they say too. Demons don't change. And what they're speaking about is very interesting. And also you will see that basically he starts off his information and then he says, wow, that was a mouthful, and full of lies too. And then he continued on. And they just basically talk in circles in this text. And this is how word can be deceiving. But they use the symbolism against us. The symbolism tells us one thing and the words are telling us another. The symbolism is very disturbing, I must say, and I would definitely be paying attention to the connections of Ashtar Command and the Galactic Federation of Light, because they are directly to the Vatican, and they even tell you here, Vatican, with the Vatican. They say Islam originated, but then they go with the Vatican, and you can see there is symbolism there in the way they've written that it's with the Vatican. Information about Orion, false messiah, and this is their front page. And again, the text is completely different to the symbolism that they're showing. This is very dark and very disturbing, and shows you that they understand exactly what's coming, and that there are going to be those amongst mankind that illuminate. And I think this is what they want to use the alien card for, so that they have people in fear. And because the people were only expecting one Messiah, they can easily change the story on the remaining flock. This is probably why the Vatican are now coming out and saying that they believe in aliens. This is why they had and do have the best observatory in the world. I mean, it rivals NASA. Their biggest telescope is called Lucifer. They were interested in the wave particle counter that they put up on the ISS. that's measuring the incoming ether. They know exactly what is coming. And it's only up to us to start informing ourselves and understanding how deep this goes, because they will just blindside us at the last minute. And I can see that the blindside will occur because there are just too many people that are uninformed about the truth. And it is quite clear to see when you start investigating further just how deep this little nest goes. And people need to be aware, because they are going to try and trick people. Because the physical experience of the divine male, when the light returns, from what the symbolism is showing, is that there is a physical crucifixion and appearance of a change within the divine male, and they are going to use this against the illumination of those within mankind. And so people need to be aware of this false information, this absolute garbage that I just cannot believe anyone would take seriously. But as I said, people are looking for an easy way to find happiness and find their heaven and their version of Eden. And they won't do this through these groups and organizations. You have to do this within yourself and with the Creator. This is a personal interaction. Anyone that's trying to take control of your divinity is against you and against God. Do you see the deception here? And they do have a full page of the Vatican. Again, when you look at the pictures, they tell a very different story to the words. So anyway, I'll leave all this information underneath because it is very handy to know, and it's also probably going to cause a lot of people to not really like that I am uncovering this little nest. So I'm also prepared for that. But when you have to try and find truth, sometimes you have to look under the rock and lift it up and see all the filth and scum that have been hiding underneath. And so unless we lift up the rock and look underneath for the filth and scum and illuminate the filth and scum to destroy it, then it will continue to fester and it will continue to infect the collective, infect the collective. So, as I said, I'll post everything underneath. And as always, peace out.